At 20, West Tip. The 1986 Grand National winner's inclusion is sure to raise a few eyebrows. After all, he was successful only once at the festival, when carrying 10-13 to victory in the Ritz Club Handicap a year before his Aintree title. But on the score of durability, West Tip gets top marks, as all told, he made 9 successive festival appearances between 83 and 91. That's one more than the likes of Desi, Royal Relief, Stroller, Nescargo and Tide Cottage, to name but 5. At 19, Dudley, trained and ridden by the legendary Mr. Harry Atherton Brown, who in 1919 became the last amateur to win the National Hunt Jockey's title outright. He was the first horse to win 4 times at the festival. At 18, Solfen, trained by Willie O'Grady, Edward's late father. 50 years ago, Solfen charged into the record books when landing the Broadway Novices Chase, what we now call the Sun Alliance, on the Wednesday under Pat Taff, and then, less than 24 hours later, the Spa Hurdle, these days dubbed the Ladbrokes World Hurdle, when partnered by Bobby Beasley. In 1973, Inkslinger also completed a festival double, but both his wins were over fences, and unlike Solfen, he enjoyed a full day's rest in between. At 17, Halloween, the best winner of the Hunter's Chase at the festival, trotting up under his owner, Captain Dick Smalley, in 1951. Bought for just £90, Halloween went on to land the King George on 2 occasions and was also placed second twice and third twice in the Gold Cup. At 16, Golden Signet, who in 1978 ran out as impressive a winner as one could wish to see, hacking over his rivals to land the odds running away under Niall Madden in the Waterford Crystal Supreme Novices Hurdle. Sadly, his career lasted only a few weeks longer, as following another effortless success at Fairyhouse, he was tragically killed when falling at the last in the Scottish Champion Hurdle, for which he was joint favourite with the eventual winner Sea Pigeon. What he might have achieved had that not occurred is anyone's guess. At 15 in my Cheltenham Top 20, Barracuda, who in his prime was arguably as good a staying hurdler as we've seen at Cheltenham. A racing record of 18 wins and 7 seconds from a total of 27 starts marks him down as something out of the ordinary. And his second success at the festival in 2003, gained at chief expense of 2 fine and peak form stayers, Iris's Gift and Limestone Lad, was a superlative performance. The race of the meeting.
Barracuda and Iris's Gift. There's a half length between the pair. Barracuda is going to hold on to his Stayers Championship. Barracuda wins again.
At 14, Big Bucks. With the greatest respect to Ingles Drever, Crimson Embers and Galmoy, all cracking Cheltenham long-distance performers, if there's been a better staying performance than Barracuda's over timber at the festival, it surely came last season, courtesy of this big dark brown French bred. Sent back over the smaller obstacles, having lost his way over fences, Big Bucks dominated the staying division, ultimately landing a very strong renewal from Punchestown's, the pair a mile clear. Everything Big Bucks has done since then continues to reinforce the view that he's uniquely talented. At 13, Masterminded, whose breathtaking performance in the 2008 Queen Mother Champion Chase oozed class, and for me gives him the nod over 3-time scorer Badsworth Boy and also Dunkirk, both similarly brilliant 2-milers. It's not unreasonable to note that Masterminded, who also won at the festival last season, is currently dominating a division lacking real strength in depth. There's surely no arguing that on this day he looked almost invincible. At 12, Moscow Flyer. But for the occasional tendency to bulldoze a fence, Irish-trained Moscow Flyer's splendid record might read even more impressively. Successful in 19 of his first 20 completed starts over fences, including in the Arkle of 2002, Moscow Flyer won the Queen Mother Champion Chase twice, in 2003 and 2005. At the time of his second Queen Mother success, the 2-mile division was as strong as it had been for years, yet his superiority was marked. He retired the winner of 26 of his 40 races, half of those coming at Grade 1 level. At 11, L'Escargot, who gets the nod over those undoubtedly more glamorous Cheltenham stars. Moving to halfway in my Cheltenham top 20. And at 10, Night Nurse. At his best, Night Nurse was a superb hurdler, arguably the pick of a wonderful era which included Bird's Nest, Dramatist, Sea Pigeon, Monksfield, as well as those previous champions, Comedy of Errors and Lanzarote. Over 2 seasons in 75-6 and 76-7, Night Nurse ran 15 times, winning on 13 occasions and finishing second twice in a group of races that comprise top handicaps, as well as weight for age races, notably 2 champion hurdles. Openly campaigned and immensely popular, later on Night Nurse developed into a quality chaser, finishing second in a Gold Cup in 1981. However, it was his hurdling exploits that set him apart. All told, he won 19 and was placed in 10 of his 32 starts over timber. At 9, Sir Ken, who was bought in France by his trainer Willie Stevenson and won his first 17 races in Britain. When landing the first of 3 champion hurdles in 1952, he ended the reign of the previous 3-time veteran winner Hatton's Grace. Interestingly, Tim Maloney, who'd ridden Hatton's Grace to his 3rd success, reckons Sir Ken to be different class. In 1954, even though Sir Ken had begun to lose a bit of speed, he outstayed his rivals to complete his hat-trick. 4th in 55, he then had his attentions turned to fences, winning the Cotswold Chase, better known these days as the Arkle. At 8, Dawn Run, whose achievement in winning the Gold Cup and the Champion Hurdle obviously marks her as unique. A number of champion hurdlers have attempted the feat, among them greats such as Sir Ken, Lanzarote, Beulah and Night Nurse. But only this Irish-trained mare, tragically killed when attempting to win a second French champion hurdle following her Gold Cup triumph, has so far managed the feat. Somewhat moody, occasionally clumsy. There's no arguing that Dawn Run was hardly impressive when landing the odds in the champion hurdle. However, the ground rode unsuitably fast that day. In the Gold Cup 2 years later, notwithstanding training setbacks and jumping deficiencies, she recovered from a blunder at the top of the hill to cut down wayward lad near the finish, in the process sparking scenes of unconfined joy. At 7, Millhouse, who for many is remembered merely as the horse that Arkle thrashed in the Gold Cups of 64 and 65. Yet a top 4 Millhouse was undoubtedly one of the best chasers in the history of the sport. And when romping home in the Gold Cup in 63, when only a 6-year-old, he looked set to dominate the chasing scene. Some claim that Millhouse's defeats by Arkle in the Gold Cups of 64 and 65 broke his spirit. But that's nonsense, and not supported by the form book. A few weeks after the first of those, he took his chance in the Whitbread, where conceding no less than 3 stones to Dormant, he failed by just a neck. Whilst Arkle ensured that Millhouse never scaled the heights forecast, in a 36-year career over hurdles and fences, somewhat marred by 6 falls, he won 16 times and was second 6 and third twice. At 6, Isterbrack. To this pair of eyes, the best 2-mile hurdler to grace the Cheltenham Festival. Isterbrack's stunning 12-length victory in the Champion Hurdle in '98 was the first of 3 successive titles, making him the 5th horse to win the race 3 times. A win in the Sun Alliance Novices Hurdle the previous year actually saw him begin a sequence of 4 successive Cheltenham Festival wins, an achievement matched only by Arkle and Golden Miller. The abandonment of the 2001 festival robbed Isterbrack of the chance of making it 5. Beaten only on his debut in 17 completed races at or around 2 miles, he possessed a brilliant turn of foot. Though it can be argued that his era lacked the strength and depth prevalent in the mid-70s, In his time, Isterbrack was utterly dominant. Still the holder of 2 of the 3 fastest recorded times over the old course at Cheltenham, he's fully deserving of the adjective great.
4 festival wins running for Isterbrack in the champion.
And so to the top 5 in my Cheltenham top 20. At 5, Easter Hero, facile winner of the Gold Cup in 1929 and 1930. Utterly dominant around park courses in Britain, unsurprisingly, Easter Hero proved in a different league to his rivals at Cheltenham, winning by 20 lengths each time. However, then the Gold Cup was worth a fraction of the Grand National, and for many owners and trainers was merely a stepping stone to Aintree. At 4, Flying Bolt, the most versatile horse in chasing's history, and arguably as good as any to have competed in the sport. His handicap performances vie with Arkle's, and his 4 appearances over 3 seasons at the Cheltenham Festival are testament to wonderful ability. Flying Bolt hacked up in the Gloucester Hurdle of '64, did likewise in the Cotswold Chase 12 months later, before completing his hat-trick when 5-1 on in the 2-mile champion chase in 1966. 24 hours after that, he finished 3rd in the champion hurdle. Either side of his 3rd festival, Flying Bolt landed 2 of Ireland's most prestigious staying handicaps, the Thyestes and the Irish Grand National under 12-7. At that stage, he was the winner of 17 of his 20 races. At 3, Golden Miller. No horse matches the Miller's achievements at Cheltenham. With 5 wins and a second from 6 attempts in the Gold Cup over 7 seasons, the race was abandoned due to bad weather in 1937. This supremely tough horse, who did much to raise the profile of steeplechasing, also holds the record of being the only one to have won a Grand National and a Gold Cup in the same year. The Miller raced for 9 seasons, finishing first in 30 of his 55 races, being disqualified on 1 occasion. Sidney Daltrey, a leading journalist of his time, perhaps best summed up the affection for which the nation held for Dorothy Paget's great chaser, dubbing him a god on 4 legs. At 2, Kauto Star, who 12 months ago became the first horse in its 85-year history to regain the Gold Cup. Successful also in 2007, Kauto Star is unquestionably the best chaser since Desert Orchid. Notwithstanding the Flying Grey's exploits on other courses, Kauto's form around Cheltenham is considerably stronger, notably when slamming his tip-top stable companion Denman last. Many racing fans think Kauto is the best of all time, and perhaps they're right. Certainly around Kempton, where he looked better than ever in winning a 4th King George, he appears the beau ideal, a chaser who says, jumps, then quickens like no other. In short, imperious. But modern-day jumping allows its stars to compete in valuable conditions events without the need to take in the handicaps that for years were naturally part of the season's highlight. That's not Kauto's fault, nor his connections, though it does mean that compared to yesteryear, he hasn't been tested in quite the same manner as others in chasing's pantheon. At 1, Arkle. The clamour for Kauto Star to be recognised as the best chaser of all time has never been stronger. Even so, nothing he's done at Cheltenham so far suggests to yours truly that he's necessarily better than Arkle, the horse for whom racing's handicapping rules were rewritten, and who, along with Golden Miller and Isterbrack, achieved the rare feat of winning at the festival in 4 successive seasons, including in 3 Gold Cups. The excitement and enthusiasm generated for the first Denman Kauto Star shootout pales into insignificance with the anticipation that waited Arkle v Millhouse in '64. When the crunch came, it was almost an anticlimax. Arkle slammed Millhouse, subsequently a neck second in the Whitbread under 12-7 when conceding 3 stone to the runner-up. Arkle was the daddy, has an overall record over fences of 22 wins, 2 seconds and 2/3 from 26 starts over fences under lines. Kauto is great, as indeed or were most of the horses discussed over the last 4 days. But to me, Arkle still stands supreme. If not quite alone, then, as he was frequently referred to, himself.